Hey everyone, and welcome back. This is our second video in a series of videos all about modals of certainty. In this video, we're going to take some time to actually look at a website in English, find the modals, and distinguish which modals are modals of certainty and which modals are not. Maybe they do something else. So that is our learning outcome for this particular video, differentiating modals of certainty from other types of modals. So I'm going to take you to this website. This is a website from the Ohio Department of Health about coronavirus. So let's take a look. So what I'm looking at is the Ohio Department of Health's website. They're frequently asked questions about coronavirus. Okay, so my first example of a modal is can pick up. Now, my first question is, what kind of modal is this? Is this certainty? You might be thinking, yeah, that's certainty, but actually this is expressing possibility. It's telling us what is possible by using the word can. Possibility can also be expressed through could, which we'll talk about later on. But right now I want you to see that we're expressing possibility through the word can. All right, the next modal that I see is here. All right, and may have, is this certainty or is this possibility? This one is certainty. It's telling us that it's not 100% certain, but if you have two or more of these symptoms, you may have it. Oh, look down here. Ah, now this is different. May be possible. Now, possible is not part of the verb if you were going to loop it in with those two words. Actually, the verb is may be. All right? And the next question, is this possibility? You might be thinking, yeah, that's possibility because I see the word possible. Possible is not part of the main verb. This is actually certainty. And the difference here is that the idea of possibility up here is expressed through the word can, and the idea of possibility here is expressed through the word possible. Maybe is actually giving us an idea of our level of certainty. And our level of certainty is, about 50%. So this is not possibility, this is certainty. Ah, here's one. What can I do? Can do is the verb. So, is this certainty or possibility? This one is actually ability. What are you able to do to prevent getting infected by COVID? So this is something even a little different than what we've seen, ability. Here's another one, should wear. Should wear. Is this possibility, certainty, ability? This one is even another example of modals. It's advisability. What should you do? What is recommended? What is your advice? Here's another example. May prevent. All right. So, is this possibility, ability, advisability? This is certainty. It's not 100% certain. It may. Okay, so these are the modals that we're focusing on in this unit. Right here it says masks do not replace the need. So I'm just going to highlight those do not replace. And I know, yes, there are no modals here, right? And I'm just pointing out that when we know something for certain, like 100%, then we don't use any modals at all. Should never be used. Okay, so think about what kind of modal that is. Advisability. It's telling you what is recommended. We see must be reserved. All right, so this is another new kind of modal that we haven't talked about yet. This one is obligation. What must be done. And we're also seeing it in the passive voice. And we have one more example of passive voice can be found. There we have another example. This one is ability. And we see it in the passive voice. All right, so now that you've had some practice in recognizing modals of certainty on the internet, I've given you 6 statements here. I'd like you to pause the video and identify which statements have modals of certainty. Remember, other examples could be advisability or obligation or possibility. So pause here for a minute and then we'll come back and go over the answers. All right, let's do it. So number 1, this is weaker certainty. So if you identified it as a modal of certainty, awesome. Just remember that because we're using might, it's not 100% sure. It's not even 80% sure. It's more like 50%. Number 2, this is actually obligation. Okay, have to, and sometimes must as well. And we will talk about the difference between using must as obligation or must as a modal of certainty. The third one, you should see this as ability. You're able to. Okay, this isn't possibility. This is ability, that you're able to do something. 4 is advisability. So it's like a recommendation, what you should or shouldn't do. 5 is actually a request. It's a polite request, and could has a lot of different possibilities for its meaning as a modal, and this is one of them, is making a request. And finally, 6 is stronger certainty. Must have reduced. So this is showing us very close to 100%, like we are feeling like it's 80 to 95% in strength of certainty. All right, I'm going to say just a couple more words about can and could to express possibility. So when we use can to express possibility, as in children can spread COVID-19 without showing any symptoms, what I mean is there's a general possibility that this is something that happens, not one particular child. It's just something that happens in general when children are around people. You use could to talk about the possibility of a particular thing happening in the present or the future. So if I make that more specific, I say, I could watch the kids for you today. I'm talking about myself. I'm talking about this current situation. I'm not talking about a general possibility. Then I can use could. I want to point out here that this is referring to a present action. It's not referring to the past. Sometimes people think of could only as meaning past tense of can. That's not always true. Could has a lot of other meanings as a modal as well, and this is one of them. So if you'd like some more practice on identifying and recognizing modals of certainty compared to other modals, check out this website by the Mayo Clinic and see if you can find some of those modals, and then take some time and put them in the comments of this video. I'd love to read them. All right, and up next we're going to look at modals of certainty in the present and the future. How do they look? Do they look any different? We will find out. I'll see you then.